Hi, this is Dave Toronto. The name of this podcast is Cut Through the Noise. We will be having conversations covering a whole host of topics, primarily around communication. We'll cover issues related to people, business, sales, necessary conversations, management, and life. Sometimes the podcast will be with me alone, other times we will have guests, including clients, and I look forward to the spirited conversations about the topics I just referenced. Hope you enjoy it. I want to talk about how mergers and acquisitions can impact employees. I've been through a number of these early on in my career. Companies that merged, I've been through a company being acquired. That same company then acquired several others over time. And at the time, I was pretty young and I thought it was really, really cool. Every time we merged or acquired or got acquired, new opportunities opened up. We got bigger, we had different service lines, we had more locations. There was just more opportunities for growth, and I thought it was cool. Not everybody did, though. There were people inside the company that were skeptical, especially when there was fallout after the transaction was complete, after the deals were done and the dust settled. Inevitably, there were some people that no longer worked at the company, or you had a new boss, or you had to move to a different location, or maybe there was a new pay plan, or now you have to use this new CRM. Stuff happened, change happened. And there were some people that could accept it and they loved it and they were open to it and they thrived. And there were some people that were incredibly resistant to it. And ultimately, they didn't. And most of them, found their way out the door, either their choice or the company's choice. And I think some of it has to do with how these deals are vetted on the front end. I think companies, for the most part, they do a decent job when it comes to looking at the financials, the receivables, the revenue and gross profit trends, the client base, the products, the services, the future potential in the market. Is there going to be redundancy if we come together? Where might we run into that? They do some, and sometimes they consider the culture, which is very important. But what they don't always take the time to consider is, how is this organization going to respond when the dust settles, when tough decisions inevitably have to get made? How are they going to respond? It's not unusual after a merger or after an acquisition for there to be some sort of announcement, some sort of celebration, some sort of, hey, rah, 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 we're all together, we're all one now, in hopes that everybody rallies around the new cause. We've all now just moved into the new house. It's great. We all now have to, we're all now brothers and sisters. It's not always that way. I remember talking to somebody years ago. The company I was with acquired a small company, and they were very excited about the idea of being plugged into our organization. In their minds, they're getting plugged in, and their offering was now going to be introduced to all of our clients across the country. That's what they thought was going to happen. But once the deal was done and it was introduced and everybody said, "Oh, this is great, welcome aboard," it got really uncomfortable when we were ultimately told you got to bring them to visit all your clients. And this is across there was a lot of resistance to that. There were a couple of offices that were very open. There were a lot of offices that were resistant. Part of it had to do with, we don't know these people. These are my clients. They talk too much. All sorts of reasons as to why it wasn't going to work. But it didn't take them long to feel like they signed up for a bad deal. They felt misled by the larger organization. I don't think the larger organization misled them at all. I think they underestimated the resistance at the local level. And the local level felt like, why didn't you tell me that this was going to happen? And maybe they did. Maybe it was said, but probably not to the extent that everyone needed to hear it. And as when I started my own company 6 years ago, I've had the opportunity to work with a number of companies. Some were acquired and have been acquired. Others have merged. Some have sold. And the fallout, or the potential fallout, it happens when the deal's done. We've got oftentimes redundancy with positions, or you're weighing, this person against that person. Maybe they have equal tenure. Maybe they're both good, but you can't keep two. So we've got to make a decision. And then when those decisions are made, feelings get hurt. People get worried. They don't want to see their friend go. In other cases, there are opportunities to move out people that weren't performing. That happens. Sometimes that happens, and those decisions are blamed on the transaction when really they should have probably been made before the transaction. You've got, employees that may now need to report to new managers. You've got some employees that might need to move to different locations. You've got others that are going to have to adapt to a new pay plan or get used to using a new system or CRM. Those are the inevitable changes that we have to consider. Not everyone is open to that stuff. Not everyone understands how a business needs to run. And we could all do a better job if we do a better job talking about those things, talking about how businesses are run in advance of a big transaction like a merger or an acquisition or any change in general. When those changes inevitably do occur, you've got a more mature staff that understands. They get it. It's easy. They might not love everything. They might take some things personally, but conceptually, they get why the decisions are made. It's when they don't understand or when they might have been led to believe that everything's going to be fine, nothing's going to change, you're going to be all set, so-and-so is going to be okay. And when change inevitably does happen, that's when they start to lose trust in the organization. The organization is going to change. Not every change is going to feel great. We have to be comfortable putting that stuff on the table with our people, shooting straight with our people, giving them the opportunity to ask questions, challenge us. But if we don't, and they don't understand, and they don't get it, or our communication is email only, or at a quick event where we bring everybody together in an awkward social situation only, that's not going to help. It's talking about this stuff day in, day out, week in, week out, and helping to condition our people to accept the realities of any business transaction, whether it's merger or acquisition related or just changes in general. It's okay for things to not always feel good. It's not okay to lead people to believe that everything's going to be great and then spring a bunch of changes on them. That's when we run into trouble. So let's get ahead of these conversations. Let's do a better job educating them on business, and we're going to have happier people that are more open-minded. Thank you. For more information about our services at JCE, you can visit www.jcegrp.com or follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. If there are topics that you want us to talk about in the future, we would love to hear from you.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.